This champion is an absolute mongrel, a hound dog. And you know which champion I'm talking about, man. You've all seen the thumbnail. Let's have it, man. Good old Embrys. He's standing beside Estrade right here, man, with his beautiful bald head. And he's about to have a great time in this live arena matchup. We're going to be showing off Embrys in multiple different areas of the game. I think I can actually get away with just doing a little bit of buff peel here. Oh my god, we can. Which means that now Embrys gets to do this. Actually, you've got big options with what you can do with an Embrys in live arena, but we'll get to that in just a second. And you know what? I'm actually thinking that we just smack. No, we failed to kill him. Oh god, well at least He-Man's here to pick up the slack, man, and just clap all kinds of cheeks. What we were trying to do is the Sun Wukong revives. Is this, man? Anything you kill with the with the A1 skill in Embrys' second form, just block revive on the Wukong, bro. Oh my god! My Embrys doesn't even have a crit damage amulet! No wonder it's... Oh god, where did I put it? Preset manager. Why is my crit... Oh, my crit damage amulet is on the... It's on the Renegade, because I was using her as an enfeeble tank in Phantom Shoguns. You know, I should have noticed that my Embrys didn't actually have Stone Skin in that fight just now. Hey, what is up, guys? This is Cobb anyways, man. This is why Embrys the Anomaly, the free mythical champion inside of Raid Shadow Legends, is an absolute must build as soon as possible for everybody. And he's just the most broken champion ever. We're going to be talking about his build or his builds, different builds that you can go with this guy, and where you want to abuse him in this video game, given that it's not just live arena, where you can clap some cheeks, with Embrys the Anomaly. Before we get to all of that and more, if you're looking to create a new Raid account, make sure to get that done immediately, right now, gosh darn it, by clicking on the beginner promo link that is down below this video at the top of the description box. By using that link on laptop or PC, you're going to get all of the free stuff that you see on screen right now, man. Basilius Ranas as your starter legendary champ, 3 free epics as you level up your new Raid account that you created using that link down below. And get that done before October 30th, when Michelangelo is the free login chase legendary. Best possible time to create a new Raid account, man. Back to the bold man. So what does Embrys actually do, and where do you want to use him? First and foremost, his first form is his support type form. Debuffs first and foremost, and attack all enemies on his A1 that destroys a bit of the target's max HP. On his A2 he places True Fear and decrease attack debuff, and then grants himself an extra turn, which is just lovely. And then on the A3 he brings an attack all enemies, remove any Stone Skin buffs and replace them with True Fear, which is lovely. Block debuffs will be replaced by block buffs, and also removes any buffs that positively affect stats and replaces them with a negative version of that buff, converting things like strengthen into weaken and that kind of deal, right? Also boosts his own turn meter and decreases the turn meter of enemies as well on the A3. Very powerful utility skill. It's got to be said, most of these skills in Embrys' first form are for use in PvP only. There are some cases in some scenarios where you can get some good use out of these skills in PvE settings, and we'll explore those in this video as well. But his first form, very utility and PvP focused. His form number 2 is his badass HP based form, where he becomes basically just a mega giga Chattanooga. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about his passive skills. Those are just a whole different animal, so we'll touch on those in just a sec. His A1 attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if anyone has necrosis on the enemy team, which again we'll touch on that in just a sec, and also places block revive if this kills an enemy, which is bloody lovely. Damage is based on HP and accuracy, which is very strange as well. On his A2 he brings that attack all enemies, deal double damage to enemies whose accuracy is lower than this champion's, or ignore 50% of each enemy's defense for enemies whose accuracy is equal to or higher than this champion's. So whatever you do, this thing's gonna smack. Pretty much. It's sort of like the TLDR. Then on his A3, he brings a HP swap with an enemy, which is lovely. Also, if the target is a boss, it's not just a PvP skill. If the target is a boss, fully restore this champion's destroyed max HP and fully heal Embrys. And each time this skill is used, increase this champion's ignore defense effect by 10% as long as they stick in their alternate form. So potentially some PvE utility actually with that A3, given it gives them an extra turn, and then you can smack on in. Now for the Necrosis stacks, switching back to form number 1. Necrosis is gnarly, bro. Whenever an enemy is killed, place 1 Necrosis stack on all other enemies, okay? Necrosis stacks cannot be resisted or blocked. Necrosis stacks can only be removed by reviving dead allies. What does Necrosis do? It basically makes every single time an enemy gets a turn, they tick for a bunch of damage, almost like it's an HP burn debuff. And because it can't be resisted or blocked and it can't be removed in the conventional way, it puts a lot of pressure on enemies in live arena. It kind of puts them against the clock a little bit, right? They've got to win the fight fast, which would be fine, apart from the fact that Embrys is also a live lord with the passive on his A2. So if you you get him into his second form, he becomes very, very tough to kill. HP based, right? And his passive 5-10 cooldown on the active effect. On the passive though, when this champion dies, reflect damage equal to 50% of the fatal hit back onto the attacker, which is insane, and I've got a hilarious clip of this coming up later on in the video. And whenever an enemy is killed, he still places this necrosis stacks, even in his second form as well, right? He always has this necrosis passive active, which is great. As for the 5-10 cooldown effect on his second form, if this champion is about to get killed by a fatal hit, preempt that hit and instantly place revive on death buff on Embrys for 1 turn before the damage is taken, and so he can self-revive effectively every 5 turns. Immensely powerful champion. Ridiculous that everybody gets this guy for free, and an absolute must build, frankly. And speaking of builds, how do you then want to build your Embrys the Anomaly? We're going to be covering, well, first of all, this is just a PvP build. PvP first and foremost. I think that most of the time a good PvP build on Embrys is going to work just fine in a lot of PvE settings as well, if you do want to use him in those settings. Best possible build I've found for the guy, and that I've seen recommended everywhere, and it works like a charm, is going to be 4 pieces of stone skin gear, and then 4 pieces of either savage gear or lethal gear, right? Ideally lethal. Of course, lethal's always going to be a little bit better. Yeah, having up that stone skin buff in the first round in live arena is going to make it so that you almost guaranteedly are going to get at least a turn on Embrys, and have time to switch over into his second form if things are looking a little bit gnarly and you want to make sure that he just lives for a little bit longer. Having that stone skin is very, very valuable, and then of course the lethal set or the savage set to just massively and drastically increase his damage. Also important to know that when you're building out your Embrys, kind of like wherever you're using him in the game, I wouldn't go above like 300 accuracy. I feel like I've got a little bit too much accuracy here on my Embrys, because if you remember, his A2 skill is Big Nuke in his second form, deals double damage to enemies whose accuracy is lower than this champion's, which is fine, but you get to ignore 50% of each enemy's defense whose accuracy is equal to or higher than this champ's. That's kind of awesome. You kind of don't want to go crazy overboard on his accuracy anyway, because of course in his first form, he actually has all kinds of ignore resistance effects on his debuff skills and stuff as well. So you don't need to go mental with the accuracy is what I'm saying. So besides the accuracy, decent speeds, especially if you're going to use him in live arena, he wants a reasonable amount of speed as a live arena nuker. 100% crit rate, high crit damage, and plenty of HP percent. That's it. This is what my incomplete masteries look like on my Embrys. Again, this is more of like a PvP style build, and I'm still farming up enough masteries to go into Retribution for a chance to counterattack whenever Embrys loses a bunch of his HP, which is going to be very, very valuable when we pick that up as well, but I'm still in the midst of farming his masteries. So this is what the masteries for my Embry look like. And now, speaking of live arena, here's a game that I recorded a little bit earlier on, just the other night actually, on my BlueStacks. Oh god, my camera's popping up all over the place. And yeah, so you get to see Embrys in action, break down his kit just a little bit more, man. So again, he's opening up with that stone skin buff just so that in case any enemies jump on in, they're going to have a really, really hard time stopping him from ever taking his turn. And on his first round here, I've got big options. I can choose to remove that stone skin from the Armands, or I can switch on over to Embrys' second form and go for the nuke. Now, the nerd that we're up against here is running multiple revivers on this team. Arbiter, the mythical nerd, the other mythical nerd. And so I decided to go for the A1 smack on the Arbiter to try and get the kill. And at the time I was recording this, I had on the crit damage amulet in this one, don't worry. But I just didn't have enough, I didn't have masteries farmed on the Embrys. Yeah, I wasn't able to secure the block revive kill on the Arbiter with that A1 skill, which bloody sucks, and it makes it so the fight's just going to take a little bit longer now. But I could have went for the big old AoE smack there as well, but just given the champions that I'm up against, I don't think it would have been very effective for obvious reasons, for reasons I'm not going to get into, right? But yeah, point is in live arena, in an arena in general, in Siege and stuff like that, you've got so many options and so many things you can do, right? HP swap, stone skin removal, big AoE nukes, block revive A1, and your Embrys is very bloody hard to kill for a damage dealer as well. You've got so many options in PvP, and that's by far like the biggest strength of Embrys. I'm going to go ahead and just skip ahead in this fight just a little bit to when we once again got the Arbiter dead here, and dude, the Embrys' passive is about to just like win us the game here, man. I swear to God, okay? So I'm still refraining from using my big AoE smack on the Embrys just now, because I don't want to trigger... I forget this champion's name. This guy, who's about to one-shot himself. Oh yes, I forget his bloody name. Okay, we've got to see an action replay of that. But yeah, I'm just trying not to trigger that guy's passive because then he's just going to revive everybody anyway and get unkillable. So I'm really refraining and holding back from using Embrys' AoE skill here until his passive just one-shots this nerd, right? Again, any would-be lethal damage that the Embrys takes, he reflects any surplus damage from that smack back onto the attacker, smacking into, I gotta know this guy's name, Siegfried, goddammit, Siegfried. And so when the Siegfried smacks in for just 10 quadrillion damage, just one-shots the crap out of himself, bro. And then the Embrys revives himself as well, you know? Oh my god. You know that our opponent right now in this live arena game is just absolutely seething at this, which is hilarious and glorious, you know? And so while this fight does go on for a little while longer, we then able to go on in and sleep the Armands and, yeah, really start just putting massive amount of pressure on this guy, especially now because the Embrys can just A1 into the Armands and block revive on him as well. And this game's basically in the bag, you know? And so hopefully you can see already that in a arena setting, Embrys the Anomaly is much more than just a standard damage dealer. He brings so many tools and so many options and so many things for your opponent to worry about. However, what about some other areas of the game? Some PvE areas of the game where if you get an Embrys, your account is very slow roll and slow burn. You get your hands on Embrys. Where else can you use this guy in PvE settings? Well, I've not actually tried this, but I do wonder how good this A3 skill might be into the likes of certain dungeons. Again, this A3, each time this skill is used, increases this champion's ignore defense effect by 10% while in their alternate form, stacking up to 50%. I don't know if this effect resets in between waves. Let's throw him into Dragon in just exactly the same build and see what he can do. No idea if this is going to be any good, by the way. This is the team that we're going to be using into Stage 6 of Hard Dragon. I don't know what to expect here, man. Maybe it's going to be absolutely trash, you know. I'm sure I've got like better specialist champions and stuff that I could be taking into Dragon here, but we're just going to focus on letting Embrys spam out as much of his A3 as possible. And I tell you what, that's actually a pretty sizable smack. My Embrys, of course, is not awakened either, and given that he's in like a bunch of stone skin gear as well, he's not rocking a crazy amount of crit damage, like 270% crit damage, compared to the Thor and the Wallmaster. Those are not incredible numbers, you know, so if he's just able to even keep up with damage, that's a great testament to how powerful this champion can be. Let's just get him to the boss and see if those ignored defense stacks are going to help out as much as I'm hoping. And here we go, man. Here we go. Hopefully all the skills are going to come out at a good time here. Decrease defense, weaken are going to go up. The A1 smacks in for 131k. Again, I'm not sure how much defense he's ignoring and if those stacks reset in between waves. But let's see. I'm also very curious to see how hard his A2 skill hits as well. As we take a stupid amount of poisons. Here we go, man. A2 comes in. 234. It's fine. It's fine, you know. I mean, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. It's just about as much damage as like the Thor's A1 skill, which, you know, not ultra mega extraordinary by any stretch. I'm not quite sure what I was expecting as we go ahead and finish the boss off. Oh god, not terrible either. Dude, is this actually worth rolling? Toxic? God, I'm never going to use this, but I'm going to keep it anyway. You know, all said and done, actually, the Embrys, you guys can't see from my massive head right now, the Embrys actually outdamaged the Thor, man. Like, what the hell? That's kind of crazy, dude. That's kind of nuts. He actually kept up with the Warmaster Thorian as well. So while the damage against the boss fell off just a little bit, his damage against the waves was stupendous, and he actually, like, kept up on the boss better than it seemed, or, like, better than it seemed to me, which is pretty cool, man. Another area of the game where, again, I haven't tested Embrys out at all just yet, but I noticed he has a pretty big HP destroy effect on his A1 skill in his first form. I just wonder how good he could be as a solo carry champion, just like a Scarab solo champion in Doom Tower and in Cursed City and that kind of thing. And so welcome to just a mongoloided Embrys build, where I'm basically just borrowing all of the best regeneration gear on my account. We're going to run him in regeneration gear and in immortal gear, which is as much health as bloody well possible, and decent speeds, or at least as much speed as I can manage in gear like this, which isn't a great deal, like 230 speed or something like that. We're just foregoing all damage in favor of survival, and we're going to go ahead and throw him in a blood shield ring as well, right? So where it gets a shield by 5% of the damage that they deal after attacking, and that's going to just reduce the amount that the Scarab is going to be counterattacking into us. We're also going to run Embrys as the aura lead in this squad, And let's go. Really hope that the Thor's going to be enough here to just kind of carry us through the waves a little bit. Oh god, maybe I should have set up the Embrys' team AI here so that he doesn't go switching into form number 2 against the boss. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. Thor gets us to the boss, no problem. This is like the middle tier, by the way, like the second to last Scarab King boss in Doom Tower. If you can do this, though, you know, oh my god, look at the destroy max HP. That's a massive amount of destroy max HP. Okay, so now we just need the Thor to die. The sooner the Thor dies, the safer the Embrys will be, because the boss is going to counterattack every time the Thor attacks in. So the sooner the Thor's dead, the better. But because of the Blood Shield Ring, the boss will not counterattack into the Embrys, which is great. Oh god, yeah, see, I should have set up some team AI here, man, and just have him spam his A1 more, but the rate at which his A1 destroys the Scarab Shield is insane. That's crazy. That's much faster than I thought. It would be, man. That's nuts. And just in general, destroying 3% of the target's max HP is chunking down the boss's health as well, as you can see. And so, yeah, good old Embrys, because of the rate at which he can HP destroy, his solo kill speed in good enough survival gear and just regen gear and stuff like that doesn't need any damage at all, by the way. I should have pointed that out. His A1 skill just flat destroys 3% of the boss's HP. It doesn't destroy 3% of the boss's HP depending on how much damage you deal with the A1. It's not 3% of the A1 skill's damage. It's just 3% every hit, meaning that you don't need any damage on him at all for this build to work. So you can take off your crit damage amulets, forget about the crit damage or crit rate gauntlets or whatever, just HP percent, some good defense percent stats, high speeds, regen, immortal gear, and this is what your Embrys can do for you, man. And again, not just in Doom Tower, but of course in Curse City as well, where Scarab might pop up and be very, very annoyingly sort of faction locked for you. And I'm not going to sit here and watch the full fight, because it's going to take 10,000 years. Against lower difficulties of Scarab, you might not even need the Blood Shield Ring, to be honest, though. It's definitely going to help. Switching back into his Lethal and Stone Skin real quick. In final place, man, at least where I'm going to go ahead and check Embrys out and see how he does, is going to be into Ice Golem's Peak, particularly if you're progressing into hard mode Ice Golem and you don't have any, like, the super cheat code attack champions or whatever. You're still relying very, very heavily on the likes of a Phoenix for block revive on his A1, except for the fact you just don't have a Phoenix on your account, right? Maybe you get your Embrys beforehand. Who the hell knows? Or maybe you got like a soul for your Embrys, but not for the likes of Phoenix, right? And Embrys could actually hypothetically fit into this team pretty smoothly and just replace the Phoenix completely. And all we're going to do with the Embrys' instructions is make it so that he switches straight into his alternate form, and it's just going to be like a wave damage dealer, that kind of deal, all the way into the boss, where we are no longer going to allow him to use his attack all enemies skill, his atomize skill on his A2, because we don't want to be triggering the boss's counterattacks until we're ready. So actually what I'm going to do here, just rejigging the team a little bit, is put Embrys as the aura lead, because you just bring a 35% HP aura in all battles, and so we're going to replace the Androck with the Embrys and then throw a decreased defense champion on the squad in the form of Thalesia, and just see how this team does. In fact, hang on, I can probably do something just a little bit like that, and let's not have her use her A2 against the final wave. Okay, man, let's see how Embrys does in terms of his final damage numbers. Against the waves of enemies, he should do just fine. I think this team's running a decreased defense, but not a weaken now. And the Embrys' AI reset because I took him out of position 5 on the team and made him the team leader, so let me go ahead and just redo that. Embrys, you're supposed to open with your goddamn metamorph, you bold fool. And so finally we arrive at the boss, where the Embrys is primarily just going to be spamming his A1 and ignoring a bunch of defense and getting those boss minion kills. It's a bit awkward because my Thalesia is a bit slower than the Embrys, which is really not ideal. So she's not able to land the decreased defense debuff before he attacks in, which is a damn shame. Otherwise that, you know, Ned would probably be dead right now, but is what it is. Let's see how much his A1 does on the next hit. He's going to get off the block revive straight away with a 100k smack. It should be noted that the necrosis effect on Embrys and on his passive doesn't affect boss's minions, which is a little bit sad, a little bit depressing, but it looks to me like he's going to get the block revive on both boss minions here. Oh god, okay, just a little bit of damage off. I thought he was going to double block revive both those guys in the very first wave there, but point is, man, he's big, he's tanky, he brings block revive, he helps kill off the waves and stuff. Is he the best possible option to take into hard mode Ice Golem? Of course he's not, but again, we're just showing them off for every area of the game where you might think about using an Embrys in your squad. And well, better late than never, he will eventually get the block revive. Oh my god, he chooses to smack into the boss instead of the boss's minion. Embrys, you absolute psycho. Well, I thought he was about to get the block revive, but there it is, man. How much damage did he actually get done in the end? He keeps up with the ninja. If I just hide my camera real quick, 2.4 mil to the ninja's 3 mil. You know, he's going to do more damage against the waves than the ninja is, and then bring the block revive utility against the boss itself. Make of that what you will. Again, best ice golem champ in the game? Obviously not. Obviously not. But if you're lacking good block revive champions on your account, he can fulfill that role as well, pretty decently in even like a PvP build. And so there you have it, man. Embrys the Anomaly, even unawakened on my account. The guy is absolutely clapping cheeks. This is the relic I've been using, by the way, alongside my Embrys in Live Arena. This could be like a crit damage relic as well. It would do just fine, but one of submission, I love this thing, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's it. How do you build your Embrys? Let me know down below, man. Do you feel like I missed any areas of the game where Embrys can absolutely pop off? Love to hear about it. And yeah, if you're looking to create a new raid account, make sure to get that done by using the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box. Man, thanks for stopping by, and we're going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.